In discussing the history of Japanese and English creative culture, there is a tendency to speak of the two as if they were wholly cordoned off, had no relation to each other, developed in wholly unique and incomparable directions. But while the differences exist meaningfully, this line of thought often misses very critical inflection points between the two. One of the most influential and famous Japanese authors debuting in the 1920s is Edogawa Ranpo, famous for his stories that range from loopy and macabre weird fiction to formative works of Japanese mystery writing, symbolized by his iconic entry into the detective canon, boy detective Kogoro Akechi. Ranpo had been exposed to and inspired by the works of authors like Arthur Conan Doyle and, could you tell, Edgar Allan Poe. That name's got an oddly familiar ring to it. 3 of Ranpo's novels are even adaptations based on foreign books, such as The Hanged Man of Saint Fullen by Belgian writer Georges Simenon, and, curiously, Murder Among the Angels by Roger Scarlett, pen name of the same-sex couple Dorothy Blair and Evelyn Page, possibly one of the earlier examples of Japanese fiction's exchange of concepts and imagery with lesbian authors. Ranpo's interest in literature writ large was a big part of the wider rejuvenation of Japan's creative culture post-World War II, where he promoted interest in mystery fiction and wrote essays on its history, cooperated on English translations of his work, and even worked with and used his influence to push for the publishing of writings by anthropologist Junichi Iwata regarding the history of homosexuality across America and Japan, after Iwata passed away in 1945. While Ranpo himself died in 1965, this almost collaborative sense of culture, the commingling of influences from both regions, continued well into the 1980s. Besides obvious famous American authors like Philip K. Dick, special mention should again be given to lesbian sci-fi authors such as Alice Sheldon, pen name James Tiptree Jr., whose stories, most prominently The Only Neat Thing to Do and The Girl Who Was Plugged In, were heavily impactful in the direction of Japanese sci-fi. And it's not hard to see why if you read them. They're very resonant with the themes and imagery Japanese sci-fi were already toying with, and many of the concepts present within them still fascinate and recur within Japanese works of sci-fi, such as The Only Neat Thing to Do's Silobene, a strange sentient brain parasite symbiote its protagonist Cody forms an odd, homosexually tinged codependent relationship with, not unlike Air and the Coil from FromSoft's Armored Core 6 Fires of Rubicon. And though this is a bit more of a reach because it's more of a generalized reference and the later stories in the same collection as The Only Neat Thing to Do were not nearly as influential, the usage of ravens and their association with true freedom and choice is not dissimilar from the second story in the same collection, Goodbye Sweethearts. As well as, of course, Cody herself, who embodies this sort of specific fascination with female adolescence. Not an uncommon theme, of course, but the specific lens in which she is viewed here, it's one that you just see echoed so frequently throughout these surrounding years of sci-fi involving leading women. Kind of like how you can form parallels between the dynamics featured in things like Dirty Pair and things like the Alex series from fellow lesbian sci-fi writer Joanna Russ. The Girl Who Was Plugged In has somewhat more abstract influences, but its ideas of marketing dystopia, remote bodily control, and societal relationship with feminine identity and bodily image can, outside of more dystopian VR landscapes, most strongly be felt in 1994's Key the Metal Idol, a show I have complicated feelings on, but have to admit has one of the most awesome openings in the business, and I'll never forget about the part where a guy made out with another guy to eat his jello. I must admit, this is a lot of information I only came into very recently through a budding interest in older science fiction and discussion of it with friends. Personally, as an amateur lesbian artist myself, I've kind of been kicking myself for not digging into this stuff earlier. I mean, I didn't even see Salome until this month. Like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Authors like Delaney, Tiptree, and Russ are genuine inspirations to me now, and have legitimately deepened my appreciation for just how truly universal the influence of gay artists has been, not only on what we create now, but on much of what's been popular across the years. Learning just this bit about them has actively made me rethink my understanding of the generalized language of storytelling and sexual expression in fiction. And with the somewhat cynical light many often discuss depictions of queer experience and identity in Japanese art with, I did feel it meaningful to highlight the real history and complications that make this expression not difficult to read genuinely, but more to see how what is commonly identified as some unique cultural vagary in some spaces is in reality just part of a longer history of personal languages of expression, and I would say in most cases is best interpreted in good faith, lacking any direct physical reason to doubt one's good nature about it. If you want a bit more reading about the only neat thing to do and its place in the history of Japanese fiction, here's an old blog I dug up while trying to clarify some info for myself. But forgive me for being diverted into some of my own fascinations about these things. The interplay between these cultures would in different areas either sustain or shift or sever. Whereas the 70s passed by, American detective fiction would have a bit of a slow identity crisis. Japanese detective fiction would continue embracing both the classical surrealism of Poe and the cozy camp of Columbo, producing both its own iconic detective TV like Tante Monogatari and, unforgettably, its own rich detective mystery game scene, as computer gaming came into its own throughout the 80s. Sci-fi on both ends would continue playing off of each other, but that 80s mystery game scene is perhaps the most pertinent to our conversation here, because right at that start, the year 1980, Sierra Online released their high-res adventure series for Apple II computers, a set of rudimentary text adventure games with crude graphics. The game of interest to us here today is the one, the only, the first graphic adventure ever made, high-res adventure number 1, Mystery House. Mystery House is, well, it's a historical artifact. The pride and joy of Ken and Roberta Williams, the game that really got Sierra Online going. It's not particularly fun to play these days. There's a certain charm to its crude art and cheap deaths, but it's not much of a mystery thriller, and the puzzles suffer from strange verbiage, making what you're actually supposed to type in order to do anything pretty damn obtuse. For example, you might see a sink and think, oh, I got that pitcher from the fridge, I should put some water in it. How do you think you do that? Well, first you've got to turn the water on. Turn faucet, use sink, activate sink. Oh, water on. Well, okay, at least the next part should be simple, right? Use pitcher? Fill pitcher? No. Get water. That's text parsers for you. Perhaps Mystery House's single greatest innovation is giving you, for the first time ever, the absolute power to kill Joe with a knife. Wait, no, sorry, got totally wrong, totally embarrassing on my part. It lets you use dagger. Wait, no! I'm sorry, Joe. You didn't deserve that. I'll make it up to you someday. The main things about Mystery House are that its puzzle design is simultaneously very rudimentary, but also somehow obtuse within that. Like, if you don't get this candle right at the start, then eventually the entire world will just go dark and you won't have a way to see. Once you've got the candle, you've got to head to the kitchen and open cabinet to take matchbox and use it to light candle. But if you don't get water following this, and you happen to visit the dining room, you're fucked. You need a full pitcher to put out the fire, or you die instantly to your own clumsiness. Once you know what to do, it's not so hard, but your whole perspective is loopy. The rooms don't have a consistently readable sense of space. You can just type N, S, W, or E to go northwest, east, or south, but then sometimes a room won't let you leave without typing go door, or go doorway, or some such. It gets a bit dizzying, especially when they reuse images a bit. Oh yeah, the mystery thriller part. You're one of a group of 7 people inside the mystery house, searching for treasure, but as you poke around different rooms, you'll find the murdered bodies of the other guests, setting up a bit of a whodunit murder mystery. Would you believe it? It's Daisy! Not that this revelation means much to anyone. Oh no, she's going to kill you! Not if my use gun has anything to say about it. Once you've killed Daisy, grabbed the gems, and made your exit, you are officially granted the title of Guru Wizard. That's pretty prestigious. I'd love to show you the incredibly lovely StarCraft-developed Japanese PC-88 port with all new, much better illustrated art, but getting some text parser input going correctly here is apparently not happening without an appropriate keyboard. It does not map any of the kana anywhere understandable. The days before IMEs. So why am I showing you Mystery House at all? Are we doing a basic-ass historical episode? Oh, why not at all. This is only the prelude. Have you ever heard of RPG Maker? VIP RPG is a 2chan board dedicated to freeware RPG Maker game creation, chiefly in those epochal RPG Maker versions, RPG Maker 2000 and 2003. It's been going strong for around 20 years, but to go too deep into its history would largely be reiterating the writings of this Mimidoshima blog post from 2019. So if you're particularly curious about the deeper history of Moshimo, just go peek at that. The short version is that this whole sector of the RPG Maker community's output ranges from full-scale RPGs with some occasionally actually managing to leak onto commercial English storefronts with the likes of Helen's Mysterious Castle, to short adventure games occasionally getting as small as the level of crude VNs, referred to here as miruge, for the fact that all you're doing at them is looking. And some go above and beyond, push RPG Maker 2003 to its absolute limits, and manage unbelievable feats like super scalar-style driving game Kodo Alex.
Oh my god!
Many, though, take on this generally shitposty tone. And yet, it's shitposts with lore. Through the most famous and influential works of VIP RPG, the many impressive games born out of its contests and festivals, the broader sense of continuity established by its Moshimo Collection series that displays the base RPG Maker characters getting into absurd hijinks imagined from simple prompts like, what if Gomez the pirate found one of the capsules from Mega Man X and became the strongest man on Earth? VIP RPGs form their own sense of vague chronology, of continuity, of characters and character relationships and dynamics. And I won't lie, this is stuff birthed from the bowels of a very classically aligned internet forum mentality. The humor can be exceedingly crude, juvenile even. It is certainly no stranger to jokes about men shoving it up each other's asses. But amateur work leads certain directions. It works without certain restrictions, and thus, while what you get is the combined brain vomit of 1,000 people, it's brain vomit that, in between its ridiculous cracks and crevices, promises something absolutely unforgettable. For every gay joke, there is a bona fide 100% and genuine lesbian love story, a character pairing that some guy in the community got really invested in. You don't make dozens of 40-plus hour-long free RPGs just for the shits and giggles. But of course, Mystery House. The VIP RPG of the hour is not, of course, one of the RPG-ass RPGs. No, there's a curious proclivity towards remakes here. Not your typical big, fancy ray tracing and 4K textures remake. We are talking a fan remake of Mystery House that adds what the game was always missing: gay sex. Moshimo Mystery House Dattara, developed by 2006 to 08, VIP RPG frequent contributor Himajin, offers more of a framing story. The name's Blizzardo. Private Eye. Through many long and hard childhood years of training, forging my instincts in the likes of the Portopia serial murder case and the Mississippi murder case, I was able to achieve my dream of becoming a detective. But that much is irrelevant to us now. For today, following an anonymous party invite that we found in our mailbox on that fateful day, we've sauntered on over to this ominous mansion. And oh gee, oh my, has this building seen better days. And just who exactly have you been talking to this whole time? No, nothing wrong with me. Don't worry your head over it one bit. This girl is Yamiko, my partner. Not in a physical sense, of course. And just like the original game, the couple are locked inside with a bunch of goobers who are about to be dead in T-minus 10 minutes. Okay, so when I said it's a Mystery House remake, it's more of a weird mix of Mystery House and Sweet Home. Mostly for jokes, though. By the way, if you're wondering why I'm pronouncing it Burizarudo and not Blizzard, it's because Blizzard is a separate VIP RPG character. Just as in the original, a cadre of VIP RPG icons are meeting up inside. From RPG Maker 2000 veterans like Alex to this guy. This Daisy character seems nice at least. As soon as you read the note on the table, things start going characteristically south. The layout of the House of Mystery is a bit more labyrinthine than the original, now that we actually have the ability to navigate a top-down 2D space. And unfortunately, the Burizarudo Detective Agency neglected to bring any planks, so the upper floor is inaccessible to us. They did make sure to place the murder victims in areas roughly corresponding with the original game in this remake, though. As you wander around, you'll occasionally bump into random encounters, all roughly corresponding, fittingly enough, to enemies encountered in the Famicom horror RPG classic Sweet Home, which I just mentioned. Why am I calling it this in the script? Hey, they're even playing the battle theme. Our first victim? Watori! How could they do this to the protagonist of the famous VIP RPG remake of Dragon Quest V? What monsters! As Burizarudo and Yamiko circle around to the graveyard, who should they find but, oh, not Joe. She is a gravedigger, though. Her name's Ice, so also an ice elemental, apparently. She seems generally irrelevant to our quest, but hey, we're still working with, roughly the conceptual basis of a Sierra Online text parser-based adventure game, so let's try some text to parse. Let's take something. No, seriously, they're having lesbian sex for like 3 minutes here. It's all text, though. As Burizarudo and Yamiko proceed through this newly added side building of the mansion, they find many scattered clues and riddles that are all completely meaningless. Pay no attention to these, they are literally all complete nonsense. If you take the left side path here, you can find a big dining room, where the ghosts of the murder victims wander in eternal unrest, as well as buy some items from Helen from Helen's mysterious castle. Yeah, she's just hanging out. Her wares include bandages and the ability to jump. Guess which of these costs more? Also, while the intense dagger scene from the original game is recreated, Burizarudo and Yamiko find it too damaged to be worth collecting. Just as well, it's not like there's a Joe to kill in this one. I mean, Ice got basically the opposite treatment of Joe. I can't think of any better way as Burizarudo and Yamiko make their way deeper into the mystery house, passing by the pitiable corpses of yet more victims, collecting hammers and battling floating swords. They find one member of the group bleeding out in a corner, their wounds still fresh. This one's still breathing. Hey, hang in there. It hurts. The bleeding won't stop. You said you wanted to die. But I just can't believe that. Just hang on, we'll stop the bleeding. It hurts, but now I can see my mother again. What are you saying? Hey! One remarkable thing about this game is that for all of its insane jocular humor and constant reprisal of homosexual comedy, the actual murders are treated arguably with greater weight than the original. Burizarudo and Yamiko don't crack jokes. The horror before their eyes is too much to bear. Well, except for this guy. Back at the kitchen, the gang finds a conspicuous wall to bash in with their hammer, as Burizarudo quotes her favorite magical girl anime. Silent Hammer! Hey look, I found a hidden passage! Boss, what the hell was that? You could never know without watching Silent Majo Rity. Within a hidden basement, the yet another victim lies on the ground before us. I put that "the" in the script. I can't explain it. And gripping in their hand, a daisy! What could it mean? Wiping the blood off the wall with this towel Yamiko happened to be carrying, we have to take care not to enter too soon, or BlazBlue and Yamiko will be trapped in darkness there forever. Well, knowing the two of them, they're probably fine like this together. Following the same course as the original game, you're actually meant to retrace your steps back to the attic. There's time for one more bloody, dismembered corpse along the way, though. Alex got it the worst of the bunch. Look out, BlazBlue! She is going to kill you! Unfortunately for Daisy, BlazBlue grabbed the key to the chest holding the iconic gun, and thus no attempt at murder is likely to succeed in the face of 999 damage of bullet. To spice things up right at the end, the alcove containing the hidden gems now appears as an atmospheric sewer maze, where you have to follow the instructions of these notes while paths through the maze cut off behind you. It's simple enough, and from there it's home free. After using the diamond as a front door key, of course. This isn't the type of story where the heroes get to be rewarded too hard for their work. Congratulations, BlazBlue and Yamiko. You two are now honorary guru wizards. I'm so bored. Nobody came by today. We don't live in a manga, boss. Of course nobody's coming by to hire hobbyist detectives. Oh yeah, remember that mansion we went to a while back? Something happened? It vanished. Not a single trace left. That's so. Well, nothing doing about that. Not like we had pretty memories of that place. That is true. Hey, by the way, what time is it? Let's see. It's about 8:50? No, just about 9 o'clock already. Oh shit! They're airing Majo Rity the movie right now! I can't miss this! Hey, I was going to watch something. Aren't you already recording it anyway? Shush! Stay quiet for the next 2 hours! If it weren't for this, you'd actually be a decent person. And just like that, BlazBlue and Yamiko are back to their regular living routine, ignoring clients to watch magical girl anime. Happy ending! I'd like to say I had a more profound reason for making this video, but the answer is that I totally did not. A friend came upon this game and told me about it at a precise moment where most of my plans and ideas were in flux, and I just wrote off of that. As an independent artist, the kind of unhinged creativity and passion that goes into making something like this isn't something to scoff at. It takes good planning and a bit of flying by the seat of your pants to get a game like this done. And while my sense of humor doesn't always click with the internalities of the VIP RPG space, I sure can't shrug at it. It's basically the same sort of space my own work comes from. There's not much they are that I'm not. There's a bigger world of VIP RPGs and shorter doujin RPGs in general out there, and hell, maybe I'll take a deeper dive into them at some point. I've only really got much interest in covering the Yuri scene, but there's plenty of big names just limiting it to that. I didn't even touch on Hat World or The Princess and the Rose Knight here, let alone more subtextual curiosities like Sonya no Daiboken. Oh yeah, and while we're on the topic of crossover in Japanese and American game history, particularly adventure games, there's a longer and more detailed history to it, one covered recently by a YouTuber by the name of FTB. If you're curious about it, go give their video a watch. Anyway, that's it. I don't know how to close this one out. Maybe I'll talk about some random PS1 or PS2 game I like again soon. Catch you later.